Some men just want to watch the world burn.
What's up, Burners? I'd like to take a moment to say thanks to the crew at Bernie 2016 TV for putting so much work in and giving both Bernie and his supporters a voice. Also, thanks for giving me an opportunity to say a few things about what's going on. Let's address the results from the Iowa caucus. We all know that by now the results were essentially 50-50. We also know that the corporate media outlets are largely spinning this as a Clinton win. The most obvious thing to point out is that the movement is real. Any honest person looking at the results in comparison to where Bernie polled at the beginning of the campaign knows that this shows that the establishment apparatus can't ignore us anymore. This brings me to the most important part of this video. Where do we go from here? The obvious answer is up. Well, certainly, but how do we get there? The first thing we should take away from the results is that Bernie's core support is largely young voters. This is most highly concentrated, but not limited to, millennials. Clinton's base is largely older Democrats, mostly baby boomers. Why? Let's look at the primary sources of media for the two demographics. For millennials, it's the internet. It also tends to be their favorite communications medium, Skype, Twitter, YouTube, and the like. For boomers, it's corporate-owned television networks. It's well established that Bernie's progressives pretty much own the web, while at the same time we know Bernie gets little to no love on TV. This means that Bernie's arguments are never expressed in a meaningful way to that chunk of the voting base. It's often stated by corporate puppets that Bernie has the passionate voters. Depending on how you interpret that, it could be construed as they're a bunch of lunatics. Never is it mentioned that we have a logical argument and a legitimate issue worthy of exploration. Instead, Bernie's issues are carved into little sound bites, which are great if you have the attention span of a gnat, but woefully inadequate if you want to get to the full range of issues. I think it's great to canvass and phone bank for Bernie. These are all important functions which make people aware he's a candidate and at least makes them think about him. However, if we really want to win this election, we have to do it by talking to people that we live with, the people that are in our neighborhoods and our coworkers, and do so in detail. We have to do it in a way that is logical and in a manner that highlights how it affects their lives directly. At the end of the day, we all support candidates who will help us on an individual level. If a boomer walks up to you and says, "I want Joe because he'll make sure I get my clown shoes every month," well, sure, you might sympathize, but it may not affect you in the least, so therefore you have no reason to support their candidate. This is akin to talking to a boomer about college debt. If they paid off their debt, then their attitude may be, "Hey, I paid my debt off, so you can too. Get over it. Quit whining." A person with that viewpoint has no reason to support that policy and as a result, no reason to support your candidate. If you instead say, "Here's the truth about Medicare for all," then you proceed to explain it in detail and how it is to their benefit, then they're invested in considering your candidate. I have to cut this short as I don't want to monopolize all the allotted time with this one video. The bottom line is, we have to make the corporate news consumers aware of what Bernie's policy positions really are, in detail, and how they directly benefit from them, because most of them don't truly know. If we want to win this election and bring about change, we absolutely must build as large a coalition of voters as we can. Chances are the only real information they get about Bernie will be from you. So let's be the ones to educate and inform the Americans who are indoctrinated by corporate news so that they can wake up and they can feel the burn. Thanks for listening, and hopefully I'll see you next time.